Good morning, boys and girls. Today we are going to do our Writer's Workshop strategy. For the past few days, we've been talking about fact and opinion. Who can tell me what a fact is?
Something that is true.
A fact is something that is true. Very good. It means it can be proven. We can find evidence to support that it is something that is true. What about an opinion? What is an opinion?
Something we think or believe.
Good. An opinion is something we think or we believe. It cannot be proven. I could say that brothers are stinky. Now, I may think brothers are stinky, but other boys may say sisters are stinky, and that may be their opinion. So it's something that they think or feel. So for the last few days while we've been working on fact or opinion, I've been having you keep track of words in our small group books and in our independent library books of opinion, words, and phrases that we can look for in our writing that'll just give us an idea that, hey, we're reading an opinion piece. So let's take a look at the list that we've come up with so far. For some introductory words and phrases, to introduce our opinion, we could say, it's my belief, I am convinced, speaking for myself, from my point of view, the best, and these are all things that are personal opinions. They're things that we believe or we think. Transitions are needed when we are writing our stories or our opinion pieces to help us flow from one part to the next. Some of those can be additionally, clearly, first, second, third, besides, finally, in conclusion. And then opinion clues. These are words that are opinions that give us clues to know that we are reading an opinion piece and not something that is a fact. So some of those clues can be always, never, beautiful, ugly, enjoyable, horrible, terrible, better, best, worst. Now, this is the list we have so far. Does anybody have any introductory words or phrases that they would like to add to our list before we go on?
How about I feel?
I feel. That's a good one. I feel like I am ready to go to bed. But some people may say, I feel like I'm ready to go play outside. What about some transitions? What are some transitions that'll help us flow in our writing?
Next.
Next. That's a single word that just helps us know that the first thought that we wrote is finished and that we're moving on to our next thought. What about any opinion clues?
How about for or against?
For or against. If we are for or against something, doesn't mean everybody else may be for or against the same thing. So that's how we know those are an opinion. Now, today we're going to read an article, an opinion piece. And it's an opinion piece that I picked out because for kids our generation, we have cell phones. Does anyone in this class own a cell phone? 2 cell phones. Okay. So on your iPads, if you would type in this address in the web box to get to the article we are going to read today. Okay. So the title of this article is, Should Schools Allow Cell Phones? Now this is a big question because it is an opinion. Some people are going to have a very strong opinion that yes, people should have cell phones. And other people are going to say, no, 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 we're not having cell phones. So let's read our article and see what this article says about should cell phones or should schools allow cell phones. Here's one item you won't find in a lot of students' backpacks, a cell phone. That's because many schools don't allow students to bring cell phones to school. But that's changing. A growing number of cities, including Los Angeles, California, and Miami, Florida, have decided in recent years to allow cell phones in schools. New York City could be next. The city's mayor, Bill de Blasio, wants to make the switch mainly for safety reasons. He says that kids and their parents need to be able to contact each other in case of an emergency. It is for parents very, very important to know how to reach their kids, said de Blasio. Many people don't like the idea of cell phones in school, however. Richard Kabesh, a high school teacher in New York City, says phones create too many problems in classrooms. The last thing students need is another source of distraction and a loss of instructional time, he wrote in a letter published in the New York Times. What do you think? So, who can tell me how this article relates to fact and opinion? Yes.
It's someone's opinion on whether there should be cell phones.
It
and
is
not a
someone's
fact.
opinion. Yes, there's not one fact that says yes or no. It's people's opinion. We read in our story that some people in Los Angeles and Miami are saying, yes, we need to have cell phones, and that's their opinion. But then we read about the high school teacher from New York City that says, no, we don't need cell phones. Both of these situations, however, supplied reasons or supporting details to say why or why not they believe there should be cell phones. So today we're going to write our own opinion piece on whether or not schools should allow cell phones. So this is going to be your time to share your opinion. Do you think schools should allow cell phones, or do you think schools should not allow cell phones? Raise of hand, who in here likes Oreos? I like Oreos too. Did you know that we have a writing plan that are called Oreos? And Oreos is a good way for us to help remember the steps in writing an opinion piece. The first O for Oreo is opinion stated clearly. So that would mean where you put your opinion. I believe cell phones should be allowed in schools, or no, I do not believe cell phones should be allowed in schools. Our next letter R, reasons you feel your opinion is correct. Now in our story, some people said yes, they believe cell phones should be, and they said because it is for safety reasons. So they gave us a reason. The high school teacher says, no, I don't think we need cell phones. It's a cause of distraction and it loses teaching time. Our next E is examples that support your opinion within the details. So you're going to give examples of your reasons. What are different examples that you can share of examples of emergencies where parents need to contact their students, or examples of how cell phones are a distraction? Now, you may think, Ms. Rhodes, this is not spelled right because there's an extra R and an extra E in this Oreo. Well, here's a question. Fact or an opinion? My opinion is I like double stuffed Oreos over regular Oreos. Does anyone else prefer the double stuffed Oreos over regular Oreos?
Mm-hmm.
More is better, right? So when we're writing, we also we're gonna double stuff our opinions. That means we're gonna have 2 reasons and 2 examples. So we have more reasons and examples to share with our readers to give them a clearer picture of what our personal opinions are. So I'm gonna pass these out and I want you to get started working on your Oreo writing plan. First, we're gonna state our opinion.
What is the last O, Ms. Rhodes?
Our last O, thank you, is opinion restated. That means we're going to restate what we said at the beginning, whether or not we support it after we've listed our reasons and our examples. After we have filled out our Oreo writing plan, that is when you will take your blank sheet of notebook paper and you're going to copy this onto yours. Our writing plan helps us to organize our thoughts so we don't get confused and we know the orders in which we need to be writing. So then after we have this, It'll help us write our opinion piece. Remember that when we're writing, we need to skip a line between each sentence so that we have room to go back and revise and edit in between. So I'm going to pass out your Oreo writing planners. Try not to eat those Oreos down at the bottom. Okay, so before we get started, let's go over what we've talked about today. We started with reviewing our opinions, words, and phrases. I think it would be a great idea to look up on the board, and you can use some of these introductory words and phrases, transitions, and opinion clues in your writing. You could say, I feel cell phones should be allowed in schools. And then when we're doing our reasons and our examples, it's a good time to add our transitions, and then we can add some opinion clues. So then after we did that, we read our article, we talked about our Oreo writing plan, and now for the rest of the period, you will have time to work on your Oreo writing plan, and then once your Oreo writing plan is complete, you can copy it onto paper and publish it. Thank you, and you may get started on your Oreo writing plan.